Welcome viewers, this is Winch here. I want to produce kind of an educational video about tactics, battlefield tactics. And I've kind of touched on this in videos past, and I'm kind of, like I said, I'm going back to the basics here lately with the progression, or I guess the winding down of Battlefield 3 and our transition period coming up into Battlefield 4. Seen a lot of new players on Battlefield 3. Obviously, the game's been free on the PlayStation Network, and we've seen a lot of new people coming to Battlefield 3 and getting their feet wet with the series. And this is a good time for you to be, mastering weapons, getting your tactics down, and getting your mindset, and getting yourself in the game for Battlefield 4 release, which is just right around the corner. So in this video, I'm showing several clips here. What I'm going to walk you through in detail is tactics that I use on a day-to-day basis, but the overall strategy in terms of how I kind of label you want to have like a state of mind as you progress through a match and develop a strategy. But my overall frame of mind is that of the guerrilla tactics, the guerrilla warfare. And that being, I don't know the technical definition, but it goes back for ages. It's always been evident and prevalent in previous wars. I guess the Vietnam War was a good example of how, like the Viet Cong utilized guerrilla warfare, putting out traps, ambushing players, using stealth, using camouflage. It was really hell for our U.S. troops over there. And, thankfully we haven't had wars. I mean, not the war's ever good, but there's no question that the Vietnam War was one of the more devastating to our American soldiers, and very difficult for them to combat guerrilla warfare. But what I'm emphasizing in my tactics here, as we focus on the gameplay here, is I'm always trying to utilize elevation. But it can also work against you. I'll show you here later in the footage where elevation can be just as bad for you as it is good. But whenever I get myself up here in these nooks on this mountain ridge here, using my weapon strengths to my advantage here. Obviously the AS-Val is one of my bread and butter weapons. I hope they bring us into Battlefield 4. Still no word on what the actual final weapon loadouts are going to be. I'm sure they're keeping that hush-hush with all the... oh, look at this. There you go, knife troll. And we'll flip the coin on you on that one. That was pretty fun. That guy, I did not see him coming down. Of course, he's parachuting in. But... as you can see, and like I said about the weapons, they're probably not releasing them because of, I don't know, Call of Duty or whatever, Ghost coming out, so maybe they're trying to keep that confidential for that. Look at that, I ambush down, I throw out C4, hop in this Jeep, go to the machine gun, go completely on the offensive when the time is appropriate, utilize all resources at your disposal, and maximize your efficiency. I mean, I just picked up 1,000 points here practically, 930 points. That was a good example of how you kind of start off giving yourself the situational advantage based on your elevation advantage, trying to keep a low profile with a suppressed weapon, and then just going straight on the offensive when the situation presents itself. Obviously, that tank was a big perspective target, and I want to go on the offensive of that and take advantage of that. Another example, using equipment here, these tow launchers. They don't sit here just to look pretty. Pull this thing out. This guy's got one little packet of C4, so I'm going to aim right at that little C4 packet right there and get a one-shot kill on that and just put that thing down. Again, queuing into subtle things like that. I don't know how to take that guy out, but utilizing the equipment around you is what you have to do if you want to be an aggressive player, if you want to get big points, if you want to be a team player. That's what that stuff's there for. Tow launchers. Whether it's a tow launcher or whether it's C4 on your equipment, an M320 could have done the same thing to that Jeep if you hit C4 packet on the side of a Jeep. So don't forget your equipment. This is what I'm trying to summarize here. That's what makes your class important, particularly Recon. I argue that Recon has the best equipment in the game with that tugs and that respawn beacon. I don't know if that's going to come in Battlefield 4. It's one thing I've criticized was a respawn beacon. I don't think they need to bring that into Battlefield 4. I'm hoping they don't. But for the most part, don't forget about your equipment, regardless of what comes into Battlefield 4. Now, moving on here to Grand Bazaar. Again, knives. Knives is not just a troll move. I use it as a tactic. Whenever sometimes I need to dispose of a guy quietly and I don't have a suppressed gun, you need to do it. You got to pull out that suppressor, or pull out the knife in lieu of a suppressor. Look at that. You notice how I ran around that cover there? And even though I was taking fire, I was able to get a tactical advantage. That was the only way I was going to be able to put that guy down. Now I move up here again, elevation, cover. You can't emphasize this stuff enough. Look at this guy running away. He ain't going to get away from me. The AS Val is such a powerful weapon. I mean, I snipe with this thing all day long. It's great at close range. It's good at medium range. It's a very versatile weapon. I would argue probably the most versatile weapon in the game of Battlefield 3. Feel free to debate me on that, guys, but I really don't see any other weapon. And I can go on here all day long about how this gun is capable of doing just about anything. And for some reason, people think that this gun can't kill at range, but I can prove you wrong on that all day long. Look at this. Now, predicting where the enemy is moving. I knew the team would be flooding in from Bravo because they just captured that, and we only have Alpha. So example here of throwing out a grenade there, leading the targets. It's a gamble sometimes, but it paid off, and I picked up almost 800 points as a result. So predicting movements is integral to your success. So push up here. Notice I take those two guys out with the pistol. They were suppressed. That's another advantage, or another example of taking advantage of the moment. Don't reload your gun. Just switch to your secondary. Go over there. They're pinned down. They're suppressed. They're already wounded. Finish them off. A lot of people in that situation would just reload their main weapon. That would allow the team the opportunity to reload their weapon, and they probably could have gotten me back or shake off their suppression. Time is always critical when you're in these kinds of situations. Always be aware of your environment if you can. And as you saw there, I just took a moment to kind of get my bearings situationally, see where I need to go next, because it's all about movement in this game. I've always argued in Battlefield that it's not about the twitch reflex, you know, who can one-shot kill with the sniper rifle. No. I've always argued that you can have probably a weaker player in terms of actual firing ability compared to a more experienced player. But if that weaker player has a better position tactically than the better shot player, then more times than not in Battlefield 3, the system will reward the player that's got a better tactical advantage, that thought about the movement and the progression of the game, that thought about how his weapon's going to perform against another person's weapon, and gave himself the advantage in that situation. That's one of the great things about this game. In this footage right here, you can see me using, again, peeking over this. You got to watch these assault guys. I mean, they're really good about reviving their teammates, and then your problem has just multiplied 2- and 3-fold many times in situations like this. So you got to be aggressive about really pursuing those assault guys, because next thing you know, you have 3 guys in front of you. But don't be afraid to get down here in the water. You know, get in the middle of it sometimes. I got, you know, just kind of a panic wrap knife there, but you know, I was on a high right there. I mean, I just dropped all those guys. I was in the thick of it. The action was flowing. Sometimes you got to roll with it. You know, the situation just keeps evolving, and you got to get on board that. And sometimes, you know, your adrenaline's pumping and stuff like that. Sometimes that's when you're at your best, and that was a good example where, you know, I've kind of had that going. I knew that guy was going to be down there, and knifed him and moved on. So this is squad deathmatch, by the way, which is kind of forgotten game mode, but this is probably one of my favorite game modes. Just basically on this map, Operation Metro, because there's no BMP on this map, no vehicles whatsoever. This is true team gameplay, emphasis on teamwork. Obviously, you want to be, the team is always pretty much in squad deathmatch, always together. They're always working together. There's always assault guys reviving the team. There's always recons. It's always well balanced right here. But here's an example of elevation not working for me. That's something I don't want to do. When you stand up on top of a rock out in the middle of a map like that, or on a corner of a map, I mean, you're a target for everybody. So in that situation, I made a mistake, and you paid for it. So again, being aware of your surroundings, I was trying to throw a C4 out over that ledge. It just was a bad plan, and I paid for it. You never get yourself on top of elevation like that, where you're exposed 360 degrees. At least mitigate your punishment on 180 degrees in front of you. Now check this out. I put this clip in here. I'm going to try to replay it for you. I think I killed this guy by running into him. Did you see that? I just ran into him. I think I killed him. What is that? I got one kill with grenade, and I swear I didn't shoot that guy. I don't know what that was, but you guys can replay it and see. Maybe I'm missing something there, but I remember when it happened, I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't shoot that guy. How did I just kill him? And then I was so distracted by that, I got killed. But I was chuckling about that one. Here again, I just want to show the AS Val at range. Look at this thing. I mean, this is a PDW, and I mean, I've just got a red dot sight on this thing, holographic sight, and I just plink away on this thing all day long. All you guys know, or most of you would know by now, unless you're new to the game, but the aiming down sight accuracy of this gun is 0. So if you're absolutely still, where you aim is where your bullet's going to go. There's no bullet deviation whatsoever. So this is just as accurate as basically a sniper rifle, this weapon is. But again, what you have to compensate for here is that it is suppressed. The bullet drop is a consideration, and you have to lead your targets. So pay attention to when I move on through this match, as these clips wrap up, how much I lead my targets, how much I not only do I lead them because of the bullet velocity being slow, but also kind of aiming high sometimes to account for the bullet drops you. There's a lot of lateral guidance and vertical guidance you got to account for with this weapon. I mean, it's not a noob gun by any means. It's got a bit of a recoil to it. They've kind of nerfed the reload time on it, so it's not as good as it used to be, but I still love this gun. I've got thousands of kills with it. But like anything in the game, I don't stick with just one gun. I mean, I've got thousands of kills with dozens of weapons, so for the most part, I try to keep a balanced approach to my gameplay. It's about knowing the weapon. Again, with Guerrilla Warfare, going back to my main topic, it's about knowing what gun's right for what match, what game mode. And the ASVAL's perfect on this kind of map. I mean, you got a large open area. It's good at range. And look at this guy. I know he dropped down behind that wall. He ain't getting away from me. Now, I don't have a bullet shot on him, but I'm going to go around here, use my equipment. I'm going to lob a grenade right across the map there. And I'm not even going to look back because I'm pretty sure that's going to hit him. And sometimes it does. I mean, I'm not saying I was 100% positive, but I was pretty confident as much as damage as I put on that guy, how much suppression he had. I saw him hunker down there. Here's me going head-to-head with the sniper. See ya. I mean, again, it's about knowing what is the best gun for the best map. And I just don't see, you know, having one gun in this game can meet all those situations. There's times where the ASVAL is a terrible weapon. If you got multiple enemies in front of you, I pulled off a genuine triple kill with this gun, but it's not easy to do. This is the kind of gun that's only good for, you know, 1 kill, 2 kills, and that's about it. I mean, the high fire rate on it, the recoil, all that stuff. So you got to know what weapons used on the various maps. I mean, as you can see here, I'm using a completely different weapon, a completely different loadout. Got an infrared sight here, an epicenter with the QBB 95. Kind of a strange enigma of a weapon on Battlefield 3, but for some reason, you know, I've got over 1,000 kills with this gun. I don't know why I dislike it. It sounds really good in my new Astro headset, by the way. I think that's why I was using it actually in this footage. But, okay. Moving back to the tactics, as you notice there, I threw C4 out on the objective. Now, a lot of people raise hell about this stuff. In fact, this will even get you banned a lot of times on servers. But, you know, most of the times when you're utilizing the, quote, guerrilla warfare tactics, you're outgunned, you're outnumbered, the team's steamrolling you, you're losing. And you have to make best with what you do with either a terrible team, you know, that's not that good, or if you're low on numbers on a team, the teams are unbalanced, you know, team stacked, what have you. Guerrilla warfare is about winning. It takes whatever it takes to get the job done to win. And that's what I do. That's why I employ this tactic. As you can see there, it didn't pay off. I have to come back here and investigate. This is why I like the infrared sight. It allows me to instantly pick up a guy in kind of a dark lit area like this, in foliage areas. A lot of times in urban areas, it's hard for me to visually acquire a guy. He was doing it right, laying down prone. But here I go again, throwing it out. Tenaciousness is another aspect of guerrilla warfare. You got to be persistent, and if it doesn't work the first time, try it again. Sometimes it takes 2 and 3 times when we putting C4 on objective for it pays off. But here we go. In this situation, we finally turned this. Well, I guess we're ahead in this game. I was thinking we were leading or losing, but we're not. But case in point, still, the team's coming back here on their second win, and I'm gonna shut them down. Now, forgive the teabagging, but there was something else going on in this gameplay. I don't need to really cover, but for the most part, that tactic paid off, and it stemmed the team's progression because we all know at Epicenter how quickly it can turn. Now, in this clip, I want to talk about is when to pull the trigger and when not to. So many times I see players, they just shoot at the first guy they see. You don't want to do that, particularly when you're knee-deep in the team spawn like I am right here. See them all spawning out there? I know they're all going left on the map, but this guy straggled off here, so I had no point but to confront him. I really don't want to pull the trigger there. I got unsuppressed weapon here. Now I know I'm in the team spawn based on where I'm at, so I'm trying to get an elevation advantage here. I'm trying to stay low key. I do not want to shoot. I see this guy. I'm pretty confident where he's going. I'm just going to follow him, and I know the team's flooding in behind him because that's how it is on team deathmatch. Do I pull the trigger here? No. Okay, what about when his buddy rounds the corner? Do you pull the trigger now? No. No, you don't. Stick with your objective. And I know there's going to be guys running down this hallway. This is where I'm forced to make a decision. But to be honest with you, this is the most epic fail I've ever seen in my life. And I'm embarrassed to put it up here, but I'm going to show you right now. That's a perfect example when you can let your emotion get the better of you. Because my heart was right, was pumping there. I was like, all right, I've got the plan going. I'm sneaking up on this team. I'm going to get them. And I was patient. And then when the moment came, you can choke. And, I mean, even though I've got 1,000 hours playing this game, it even happens to me too, guys. So I left it in there, but I just wanted to emphasize more than anything about knowing when to shoot and when not to. And I was trying to, when I did make the decision to shoot that last moment, I was right. But unfortunately, the execution was poor. So this last clip here will summarize everything I just talked about, and I'll hopefully demonstrate it in a fairly good fashion, because this is a good clip here at the end of this match. I was pretty much doing pretty crappy this whole match, but this last bit right here, I pulled it all together, and I went pretty good beast mode here in a moment with AS Foul. You can see me move through the map here, use my equipment. You can see the stealth capability of the Val. Right there, I just stopped 11 kill streak right there on that guy. I think that was Reefer. He's a good player, but he loves to join up and play against me. But you can see how the stealth advantage here is giving me a huge tactical advantage a lot of times. I'm careful about where I'm moving. I'm being conscientious of the minimap. I know the sniper's over here spam cannon this thing. I'm trying to get a headshot on him. I'm pretty sure I hit him there in the head, but didn't kill him. Right here, I know I saw those guys flanking around here, so I'm going to put some C4 here. I know what they're doing. They're trying to get around, so I'm going to keep an eye on that map, on the mini-map. And I'm listening in my headset, too, for footsteps. And I just saw this guy get put down there, and there they are. Detonate that C4. That guy had no idea that was coming. He's like, what the heck? Watching my flanks. Keeping cover. I'm pretty much pinned in here, but I'm still going to survive here. I'm throwing out grenades when I can. That guy's still over there, spam cannon that stuff behind cover. But knowing when to move, when not to. Throwing out C4, I knew there's a guy behind that corner too. This is what you have to do to survive. This is what you have to do to be a force with the team. And a lot of these guys still don't know I'm here because I have a suppressed weapon. You cannot underestimate the advantage of stealth in this game. I mean, this guy's just sitting over here. If my weapon wasn't suppressed, I would have been dead a long time ago. Going on the offensive, back raging, whatever you can do. Flank around the team. Try to get over here to the sniper guy and make sure he's still gone. Excuse me. And moving up, whatever you can do. This is what you need to do. Think about this. Think about your overall strategy when you play games. Every game, every match, try to try to improve your gameplay just a little bit. Be critical of yourself. Realize when you made a mistake. Learn from it, and you will, your gameplay will evolve. I've heard a lot of you, comments and thank me for my suggestions and say you have improved your score a lot. I'm happy to hear that. But it's all about having fun, playing the game, learning from your mistakes, and just being aware of what's going on. As you can see, here's my teammate. Battlefield tripped me up there a little bit. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll have more content to come.